KRISHNA University. Convenient I request your principal and technology.
Honorable Vice Chancellor, Professor K.V. Chandrasekhar Garu, previously Krishna Farmer, KRISHNA University, V. Surichandra Garu, Rector Krishna University, my dear participants and other faculty members, our coordinator, Dr. Avimitra, Bhavani Shankar, and my dear today we are going to conduct the 1 week faculty development program on current research trends in computer science. We have 5 days program from 11 to 15 on current research trends. On the first day, today, current research trends in big data analytics. The resource person is Professor Muhammad Ahmed Hussain. And on 5th, the lecture will be arranged on current research in artificial intelligence. Here the resource person is Dr. M. Kamal Kumari. On 6th, current research trends in machine learning. Resource person is Dr. P. Shankar Rao, Geetham University. On 7th, current research trends in blockchain technologies. Resource person is Professor Srinivas Naresh Vankumamdi. He is Dean R&D, the Vasu Engineering College. And on 8th, Dr. G. Lalita Kumari, PVP, Siddhartha Institute of Technology. She will deliver research perspectives. These are the topics that we are going to cover in this faculty development program. First of all, we thank our Honorable Vice Chancellor for giving this opportunity for our department, Computer Science and Engineering, University College of Engineering and Technology. As you know, the technology is growing rapidly over the last recent year. We have identified the emerging areas that are, artificial intelligence and robotics, blockchain technology, Internet of Things, and cyber security. These are the major areas we are going to cover in this faculty development program. So we need to update ourselves along with the changes in the technology. I hope this FDP will help in your further research. Thank you, one and all.
ప్రిన్సిపాల్ కదా ప్రిన్సిపాల్ ధన్యవాదాలు. అదే రమ్మను సార్ చెప్పినాడు చెప్పు అటు ఇచ్చేది అడిగిపోడు వీడు తీసుకోడు. ఏమి నాకు కిరణ్ ఏంటి ప్రాబ్లమ్? హలో హలో కిరణ్
సార్
ఎనీ ప్రాబ్లం? హలో ఏమైంది? ఏం చెప్పడం హలో అంటే హలో
సార్ 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 స్టార్ట్ చేయొచ్చు సార్.
మీరు చెప్పాలి కదా, ఊరికే ఉండిపోతే నాకు ఎట్ట తెలుస్తుంది?
లేదు సార్, ఇక్కడ నెట్వర్క్ ప్రాబ్లం. Now I request our
మాట్లాడేది
honorable vice. Now I request our honorable
So
vice
good morning
chancellor.
good morning to everybody. The in-charge principal Dr. R. Kiran Kumar, Department of Computer Science, and expert speaker from the KLU Deemed University, Professor M. Ali Hussain, and my dear the participants. So the KRISHNA University, the starting FDP is the last 1 month in all branches, the science, humanities, engineering, and pharmacy. So as a part of our program, so today the computer science department conducting the current research trends in computer science. So the good topic, but my suggestion is if you select a particular field for especially for FDP, that is a good for all the participants, not a generalized title. So here the given a generalized title, but the next onwards you be specific, either Internet of Things or blockchain technology or robotics. So the current the advanced the any techniques is there, better to conduct those fields. It is useful for all the participants, teachers, as well as the students. So all of you know, in computer science, the day by day, the changes are taken place in different fields. So earlier already we discussed with discussed about blockchain technology, the or IoT, or robotics, Internet of Things, like that. So these advances, so what are the current trends, and what versions in computer science the present is there. So you should give a clear-cut idea for all the participants. So which version is the good for students, as well as which one is the good for especially the participants or teachers, because the teachers are a key role to give a good academics to the students, either a BTech students or a MTech students. So it's a time to learn the advances in a particular the field by the faculty member is the required on the part of this. So the KRISHNA University conducting the various programs in all the branches like engineering, and so earlier I told that. So I hope that this 1 week this FDP the program will success, so without any the interruptions, and the faculty members to earn a good knowledge in those other fields. So I wish you all the best for all participants, and as well as the expert speakers. Thank you, one and all.
Thank you, sir. you for your valuable message. Sir, we will follow your suggestions. In the next week, we are going to conduct big data analytics FDP. Uh, to introduce
The next technical session is about yes. Now the next technical session is about our first resource person, Dr. M.D. Ali Hussain, sir, professor of KR deemed university. He is one of the prominent personalities in the field of technical education. Sir has completed his PhD from Acharyya and Agartala University. And then Sir has completed his postdoctoral also from foreign university. And he is presently guiding so many research scholars and nearly 20 plus PhDs has been guided under Sir's supervision. And Sir is a prominent researcher and he has achieved good number of awards in the field of science and technology and engineering. And he has a Guinness World Record for his name for the highest number of publications in a particular engineering field. We are very much thankful to Professor Dr. M.D. Ali Hussain sir to be part of our faculty development program. And we hope that all the participants will be able to get a good share of knowledge from Professor Dr. M.D. Ali Hussain sir. So if we go on telling, there's a lot of things which we should discuss about him here, but on a short note, we are trying to end this part here. And we now request our Professor Dr. M.D. Ali Hussain sir, professor from KR deemed University, to give his technical presentation. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, hello. Yeah, I'm audible, sir. Good morning. Yeah, I'm audible.
Yes, sir. You are audible.
Yeah. Thank you very much for giving me introduction regarding myself, Dr. Ali Mirza, sir. And coming for first of all, I want to thank KRISHNA University, Honorable Vice Chancellor, sir, Registrar, sir, Convener, sir, Kiran Kumar Reddy, sir, the coordinator Ali Mirza garu, for giving the acceptance and to coming for delivering the lecture on big data analytics. So I welcome all the participants, the eminent faculty members who have been here for this faculty development program. Just I want to share my screen. Just a second. Sir, is my screen is audible, visible, sir?
Yeah, yeah, you are audible.
Is my screen is visible?
Share your screen. Yeah, now both are visible, audible. Your screen is visible and you are audible also.
And my PPT is visible, I think so.
Yeah, PPT is visible and you are audible.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Thank you very much. So once again, I'm thankful to the organizers for being giving this opportunity to deliver my lecture for this faculty development program at KRISHNA University. So first of all, coming for the topic, what I'm trying to give a overlook regarding the big data analytics shaping up Internet of Things. Basically, we have been aware about how big data analytics has been creating a lot of space for the new researchers, students, where they can easily do a lot of analytics based upon the data which is available in various organizations, and how we can perform the best way of providing the data in most fast manner. Basically, my title describes about how this big data analytics has been shaping the IoT. So these two are different emerging areas what I'm trying to focus in today's lecture. So big data is quite different when you talk about Internet of Things. So I'm trying to make a combination of this big data analytics with IoT. Why? Because we have been totally immersed with the area of IoT and big data nowadays. So in coming days, entire process will be done on the operations, whatever we do in the online operations, or coming for the day-to-day operations, what we do is basically on data. So without data, there's nothing to do. So data is most important part of any process. So here how we can link up with IoT. So our day-to-day coming for the electronic gadgets, what we use in our daily life at your home appliances, or it may be for whenever you're traveling or wherever you use in your companies or offices. So totally we have been equipped with all the electronic gadgets nowadays, and we are trying to make the best use of our devices in more prominent way. So we are trying to bring together how this big data analytics has been shaping the IoT in present and coming future. So myself, Dr. Ali Hussain, working as Associate Dean R&D and Professor of Electronics and Computer Science Engineering Department at KL University. So coming for today's talk, I want to just brief out the importance of big data analytics and how this IoT has been immersed with big data analytics. So coming for the big data, you know very well how this big data has been a buzzing word nowadays, how it has been giving a shape to do a lot of innovations, lot of operations on your real-time data. So nowadays we are working on the real-time data. So whenever we talk about real-time data, the data is coming over in different forms, in different what we say as formats. So we can work with any type of data formats. As you know very well, there are n number of data formats what we are using in our daily life. Around 17 to 18 data formats what we usually use in our daily life. It can be a textual data format, it can be a video data format, it can be graphical data format, it can be TIFF data format, it can be GIF data format. So altogether there are around 17 to 18 data formats we have been using widely in our daily operations, depends upon the usage and purpose. So how we have been using this data, how far we are using the data in more eminent manner, the best way of getting the data and try to analyze the data in the best way. So gathering the data, collecting the data, fetching the data from different repositories, and trying to analyze the data in the best way to produce the required output or required what we say as data format as reports, as you know. So here data nothing but is a raw data. So how to make this raw data into a structured data? So basically, you know very well, as per the big data or talk about any data formats. So data is basically raw data which is totally unstructured data. So how we are going to make this unstructured data into a fully structured data? So a unstructured data can be easily used for your data manipulations, data operations on your day-to-day applications, whatever you use in your institutions or companies or wherever you work with. So your big data can be easily, like the data can be easily formed as a structured format from an unstructured pattern. So as I said, data is having different forms like unstructured data, semi-structured data, and structured data. So these three forms of data can be easily managed in your big data analytics process. So in this process, I am trying to give a complete overlook or understanding about how this big data can be easily managed in a better way to analyze the data in different forms or different formats. So we are taking some unstructured data, and when you talk about big data analytics, this unstructured data can be easily managed, processed, and giving the insight about how we can easily project our data into the best reports, what the user end or what the company is looking for. So we are trying to focus the unstructured data into a complete structured data where it can be analyzed in the best way. So nothing but the time consuming process, or we are trying to reduce the timing when you talk about processing of data. So this big data analytics is being working with a framework, basically Hadoop framework. So I'm talking about Hadoop framework in this process. Not only Hadoop framework, I'm talking about Spark, I'm trying to discuss about Ant, I'm trying to discuss about Hive, I'm going to discuss about the Pig, and lots more. So all these technological aspects or the frameworks or the tools being very useful and helpful to make your data more efficiently process the data at the user end. So I'm trying to talk about how we can easily do the data processing where we have very huge amount of data, because every day data is being keep on increasing day by day. So we are not talking about gigabytes of data nowadays. We're talking about terabytes of data. We're talking about coming for petabytes of data. We're talking about exabytes of data, zettabytes of data. So keep on increasing day by day. So whenever data is keep on increasing, we have to have a best mechanism or best processing where we can do the analysis, where the required amount of data can be easily filtered, and we can get the best results from the reports. So here in this process, big data analytics, how it is being shaping with IoT. So IoT is being one of the like we call as a system where we can easily connect or interconnect different physical objects together. So in the world, we have a number of electronic gadgets, physical objects, where we can make more easier to interconnect to get the easy way of doing our operations. So nowadays, from past 5 to 10 years, we are being totally equipped with IoT devices, and wherever we talk about IoT, we are in the part of IoT. It might be your car, it might be your mobile, it might be your smartphone, coming for your smartwatch or whatever it might be. So everywhere we can find IoT, where we have the sensors, where we have data collection units, where we can filter, we can transform the data to different repositories. All these things can be easily managed with your IoT, and IoT is a place where we can do the processing and processing of data, not to get the required amount of data the best way. Like for example, when we talk about IoT, we can use for healthcare, agriculture, we can use for any type of industrial operations. Not only not being having any sort of limitations that it can be used only for healthcare, it can be used for agriculture's domain, or it can be used for industrial domain. So everywhere the IoT has been totally involved in day-to-day operations in your daily life. And IoT can do the processing of data, but the data, whatever data you are trying to process, can be further analyzed by means of some technological framework or maybe from tool as well. So whatever the data you have been collecting from various sensors, which has been operated at different level, all this data should be gathered and then analyzed properly as per the requirement of the end user or the company. And then we have tried to generate the reports where we can easily know where we are lagging or where we are doing the better things. And this data is being stored in the repository for a long period of time. So when you talk about data, it can be stored in your Hadoop as a file system, or it can be in the cloud as well. So it depends upon the requirement of the end user or the company. We can store the data in the format, in the form of data files in the Hadoop framework, or in the form of cloud. So data can be available to fetch whatever you want at very faster speed to process your analytics at the user end. So here I'm trying to talk about how this data transmission is going to be done at high level, how we are being totally immersed with this big data analytics with IoT, and how this data is being further manipulated or further performing various operations on different data formats. So in this process, I'm trying to talk about how this big data has been totally emerging with this IoT. Because before we talk about IoT, the embedded system where we have this embedded technology together. The embedded technology is trying to have different electronic devices and electronic gadgets. How we are going to interconnect to each other to get the accurate, appropriate results for your devices, whatever you are operating in your daily life. So here we need a lot of information to be processed to every second, every minute, every day. So whenever you have day-to-day operations in a gigabytes of data, or it might be terabytes of data, or it might be petabytes of data, or zettabytes of data. So this data is huge to process and to do the analysis, to perform some analytical operations on the available data. It is somewhat difficult. Then we need some high-end applications, high-end frameworks, or we need some tools to manage all these operations. So for this, we are trying to talk about Hadoop framework, as well as we can talk about how this Spark is working on this data operations day to day, and how these various tools are being involved to make your day operations, day-to-day operations more easier and more efficient. So here the relationship between IoT and big data is being one of the buzzing word where all the companies, all the institutions have been using widely at present and coming days. So why? Because it is generating data, and without this data, there cannot be any specific analysis or any specific operations. So here I'm not only restricting the data at one place, we can store the data in different formats in different places. So wherever you store the data, it should be more easy to fetch and do the operations further in the best way to get the accurate results to the end user. So here I'm trying to talk about how this data is being having a easy way of making proper decision support system. So here, to make a proper decision support system on the data, we need a structured data. Basically, whenever you collect some data from any repository or from any end user or any people who have been using this data, so the data may be in different forms. So you have to make, as per your requirement, you have to convert the data. You have to make the best use of data by making some technique where you can apply some map reducer technique as part of the Hadoop framework, where you can optimize the operations using Hadoop distributed file system. And easily this map reduce technique makes your data into n number of cluster systems, dividing or storing, doing the data processing at different end user systems together, and try to reduce the time gap so that you can get the most accurate results in a very less time. So here we have a number of tools and techniques to process your data operations and get the best results. So not only our academicians, apart from academicians, the industries, the companies, everywhere this big data is emerging together with IoT to get the most best results to generate. So here I can give a small example regarding this relation between the big data and IoT. As per the recent coming for to the 2022 at present this year, around 4.4 trillion gigabytes of data has been generated as per the survey has been conducted, where this IoT has been one of the major part of this doing the sensing of data which has been stored in different repositories. So here lot of data is coming, trillions of data. So it's a very huge amount of data which is coming from various devices which is generating, and where you can do a set of what we say as analytics performance, where we can get the required amount of operations together for various testing purposes. So here we are going to gather the data, we are going to analyze the data, we are going to transfer data in different domains. So it's not been in specific, it is totally generic. So the data can be easily manipulated, managed in various environments, various devices easily, where we can try to transform the data in different forms, and we can easily analyze the data, and we can do the best results from those data, whatever we require. So in this process, coming for the role of big data has been one of the major thing. And here, when you talk about this big data analytics at current trends, the companies have been widely using Hadoop as one of the framework to do the data processing and data storing process in the form of data file systems. And this Hadoop has been creating a tremendous response where the user can easily manage data and do efficient processing of data in a very short time, and we can easily perform different analytical processing of your data and get the accurate results as per the requirement of the end user. So in this process, I'm talking about how this IoT and big data processing has been different, what we say as steps to follow. Basically, as I said just now, we have totally unstructured data which is not being in a format. So we have to build the unstructured data into semi-structured data and then structured data. So, but coming for the Hadoop framework is capable enough to analyze the data which is in the form of unstructured and make it the best way of getting or gathering the data into structured format by using any sort of technique, like it might be a map reduce technique, it might be Spark, or it might be any other. So all these things will be very useful for making the things more easiest way to get the unstructured data into structured data, where we have the volume of data, velocity of data, variety of data. So we are having different accuracy, speed is being increased, coming from different formats are being supportive, and we can easily do the operations at very faster rate. So the data has been easily done, analyzed in a proper way to get the accurate results. So in Hadoop, we have the MapReduce techniques as well as Spark. Both are being widely used to perform your data processing at the user application level and then getting the accurate results. So it depends upon the need and requirement of the industry or the company. They can go and perform by using a MapReducer or they can go with a Spark. So basically these two are quite same but having a slight variation about this process. The Spark basically, when talking about MapReducer, it talks about the file system, how it is managed the file systems with multiple cluster systems by using the Hadoop file system. So the Spark is working on the RAM where we have this random access memory processing of data at more faster rate by using the cache memory, and is easy to manage n number of real-time applications together in Spark comparatively better than MapReduce. So both are having their own importance, their own usage depends upon the requirement of the client or requirement of the company. So MapReduce and Spark are widely used in the Hadoop framework to analyze, to process the data and to get the accurate results. So we can get easily the reports from these two once we have data processing at very fast rate. So this is what I'm trying to show you coming for basic block diagram, how this IoT has been sending the data or fetching the data back to the coming for your Hadoop framework. So we have n number of electronic gadgets which have been connected or interrelated together, where a lot of data is being sensed, lot of data is being coming over from every electronic gadget. It might be a mobile, it might be any electronic device. So all this data will be further analyzed based upon the data complexity. So coming for data complexity is keep on increasing because a lot of data is being consumed by every device and a lot of data is being complex to perform the required amount of analysis to get the required output. So whenever you want to perform some analysis on the required amount of data, we need some efficient mechanism to filter those data the best way by removing the unwanted or unrelated data from this process. So to perform this filtering process, we can go with some MapReduce techniques where we can try to get the required amount of data to be filtered, to be manipulated, to be processed further in an easy way, and then the certain volume of data, whatever you have been filtered from this process, can easily forward to the processing unit where we can perform, where we can apply various tools and techniques to get the results, the experimental results, whatever you want to achieve from this process. We can generate the reports once you've been analyzed the data. We can perform various query operations on the data as per the requirement of the conditions, whatever you want to apply. We can apply various tools. We can apply various tools and techniques on this data to do better performance of the data operations. So here, one more process you can see here, where we have this big data analytics has been widely used by n number of organizations in the entire globe. So every company, every institution nowadays talking about big data. So a lot of data has been consumed from various repositories, whatever we use. So where we have more involvement of Hadoop as a framework to do the data processing and data storing into form of data files in the Hadoop distributed file system. So Hadoop distributed file system is one of the best way to manage your data and try to process your data at the user end. So in the Hadoop framework, we have this Spark, one of the Spark, Apache Spark, or you can use any sort of MapReduce techniques to process your data. So the cloud, in between the cloud storage, if the user or the company or any person want to store data, they can try to store data in the cloud as well. So cloud is the intermediate between your network to the big data analytic processing unit. So cloud is a place where you can store the data and easy to fetch the data at very less time. The bandwidth coming for the time consuming, that bandwidth, whatever you have at your network level should be good enough so that the fetching, downloading or uploading of data or fetching of data should be more easier from this different units. It might be from big data analytics to the network place. So we are trying to connect n number of network devices. So all these network devices can easily gather data, can we transfer this data to the cloud and then to the big data analytic processing, where we can perform various analysis of the data, whatever you have. So at the bottom end, we have different IoT devices. So IoT is being totally emerging area where we have performing of data processing in different units, and all these units trying to generate some amount of data for further analysis part. So whatever the data you are being processing at the different electronic gadgets as part of your device level should be forwarded back to the analysis part, where we can perform the various analysis at the big data analytics processing. So this is what I'm trying to discuss about how this big data analytics has been together with IoT. So these are two different emerging areas together we can use to perform best way of analysis, which has been generated from various electronic gadgets from various vendors. So here you can see one of the use case I'm trying to show you here. So in this use case, you can see like we have smart metering, we have transportation, we have smart supply chain, we have smart agriculture, smart grid, smart traffic. So all these things are various what use cases what I'm trying to show you. So in these use cases, you can see every use case or every device or every functioning of the component is having its own importance, its own benefit. So the benefit is what the first smart metering is working as the prediction of the electricity consumer, and how we are going to sense the IoT device sensors are going to sense the how much meter has been, how the power supply has been, how much power has been generated. All these things can be easily manipulated, and here we are using the analysis of Hadoop as a framework for the smart metering, for example. The similar way, we have one more use case like transportation. So nowadays we have been traveling with different vehicles. It might be car, it might be anything. So this can be easily sensed by the various cameras, and camera coming for the video. It might be audio signals easily transferred to the data analysis process. So in this data analysis process, we have been using Hadoop or Spark or Hive. So you know, Hadoop is a distributed file system, and Spark is one of the processing data processing speed is more high when compared to MapReduce technique. So whenever we talk about the traffic system or traffic signaling system, we need a high-end processing speed like Spark, Apache Spark, to perform your real-time applications, whatever you have, live applications. And Hive is nothing but is a framework top of your Hadoop. It is working on the top of your Hadoop, where we can easily store and process data in the very high amount of data, which is processing more than gigabytes. So it is basically the Hive is working on petabytes of data and beyond that petabytes of data than normally gigabytes of data or megabytes of data, because a lot of data is coming over from various traffic signals, various devices. All this should be easily processed and giving a proper analysis where the traffic has been more or less, where the traffic has been stuck up, or whatever the data you want to do. Further analysis, you can take further easy way of measurements, or easy way of giving best solutions to reduce the traffic in different places. So similarly, we have one of those things like smart supply chain. Is one of the example where we talk about companies, supply chain management. The industries where we have n number of departments, like every institution, every company is having number of departments. Take a industry, you take any industry, we have purchase department, manufacturing department, sales department, supply chain department. So there are a number of departments who have been engaged in a industry or in a company. So all these departments together, they have a number of data forms, data formats to be done. It might be textual format, the data will be in the image format or any other format. All these things easily processed, manipulated, or getting the required amount of results can be done and managed by using Hadoop framework. So everywhere we can see Hadoop has been involved, or Spark has been involved, or Hive has been involved to do the best processing techniques. So smart agriculture, you can take smart agriculture where we have this sensors data being collected based upon the cultivation of the soil, cultivation of your crop, how this data has been recorded on your device, how we can perform the analysis on the recorded device. So we are trying to have different seeds being on the soil and different plants we are doing plantation. So all this data can be easily captured from various sensors, and the sensor is trying to test the data, and if any issues are there, try to give a try to take some precautionary measurements so that we can overcome those problems. So here also we're talking about Hadoop as a framework, smart grid, smart traffic. So everywhere, wherever it might be any form of data, it might be audio format, video format, or any other format, all these data formats are easily supported by your Hadoop framework to do proper analysis. So here you can see how this IoT and big data together giving a lot of benefit, lot of scope for any industry or any company where we can easily examine the data the best way. So the IoT can easily perform, examine, reveal trends, find unseen patterns, find hidden correlations, find reveal new information. So this variety of data forms can easily tested together, can perform various patterns of data where we can analyze the best results as per requirement of the industry or the end user. And there are a number of applications. Not only this, I have been trying to show you some few applications. Apart from that, we have a number of applications in the big data, like cyber security and crime prediction, coming for pharmaceutical drug, scientific research, weather forecasting, not only tax, traffic, or n number. There is no limitation. So these are some of the applications what I'm trying to show you, which have been very known to us, where the big data has been totally involved. Big data, not only big data and IoT, both are together involved to do the specific analysis on your data as per the requirement of the user. So cyber crimes are happening day by day. You know very well. Security should be increased. The camera should be more good enough to give or fetch the data at the current moment, and how to reduce the crime rate in different places. How will the drugs, whenever you talk about drug in pharma companies, they're going to have a number of ingredients to prepare any sort of medicine, you know very well. So all these things should be to being used data to bottom up, like for example, to prepare any sort of drug, we need data to test, to process, and then it should be applied, and then you have to decide whether it is working properly or not. I mean, for scientific research, when you are ISRO, NASA, or whatever it might be, we are trying to do a lot of operations together for satellite launching, or it might be any operations of your ISRO or NASA. So weather forecasting is one of the known area where we are testing the weather every day or every hour. What's the weather of your location of Vijayawada or Guntur or Hyderabad or any place or any corner of the world. So all these things can easily done by having data. So without data, we cannot do any process. We cannot do any sort of analytics on the data. So we need data. The data may be in different forms, doesn't matter, but we can do proper analysis on the required amount of data so that we can decide to go further or do any sort of operations on the data. So coming for taxation, coming for traffic optimizations, everywhere data is being used, and these are some of the applications where we are in general in our daily life we are using. And apart from this, we are having a number of applications where the big data and IoT has been emerging together. So here, coming for the benefits of IoT and big data, there are n number of benefits. Because in day-to-day life, our coming for revenue on investments, coming for we are trying to invest a lot of things like the business. We are trying to have a number of shares of any company or any business, or coming for returns on investment. So whenever you're uh, trying to like we are trying to get some shares of any company, trying to purchase some shares, or what's the profit we're going to get, how much revenue we can generate, or we can start up any sort of company, what type of returns we can expect. So prediction, we call as prediction management. So we can easily have a analysis of prediction by having some or certain amount of data, where we can easily manage, where we can easily predict what will be the next after 1 year or 2 years or 3 years. So you can have a proper understanding, proper planning of your business to further to go in a great heights. We need sufficient amount of data that can be easily managed. Similarly, this can be on e-health, manufacturing devices, it might be transportation or whatnot. So everywhere we can easily do the analysis on various sectors. And when you talk about this industrial IoT, so IoT is not being limited to a particular area or particular field. What I said just now has been totally in everywhere in our daily life. It's part of our daily life. So IoT has been emerging into our daily life, doing n number of operations where we can do very easy operations, connecting various devices together and generating some data, and we can save a lot of time and efforts. So we can monitor the data, we can collect the data, we can exchange data, we can analyze data. So everything is possible, not only in industry, it might be any other company or any other firms. So the devices together generates or sends data that can be easily analyzed further to make proper decision making. So without having proper decision making, we cannot do anything with the data. So every data of any institution, any company or user data or any record of your data needs some analysis at the end of the day. So without this analysis, we cannot decide whether we are in a right track or we have been having some problems, the data, whatever you have, how to do some corrections or required manipulations if required, and get the required results for your data. So for this, it is required to have a data processing. And coming for the edge computing, I want to discuss about a small thing about edge computing. So edge computing is not new for us. It has been part of our daily operations, where you can do very high-end operations for the real-time data. So whenever you have some real-time analysis of your data, of your online transaction processing, we call as online transaction processing, where we have the real-time data, is high priority to do the set of operations at high end. So these technological aspects, where we have very high amount of data, can be managed by using Hadoop as a framework using Spark. So this can be easily managed at the user end or at the company end. So the Hadoop is being widely used to perform these high-end operations of your real-time systems using Hadoop Spark framework. So here still we can have some problems, or we're not being closely doing the perfect analysis of the data, or we cannot predict it. The prediction is nothing but we can get the out of 100% we can predict up to 80 or 90%, but no analysis can be predict 100% accurate, as you know very well. So we can, the prediction process can be done up to some 80 to 90% based upon the data available for you, so that you can analyze further process more easily and smoothly. So we are unable to predict what we say as the more than 90% or near to accurate what are the amount of data you're trying to gather or collect. So in this process, we are trying to talk about edge computing, where we are trying to have very close like deployment of your operations, day-to-day operations on your current data more effectively without having any sort of delay, and we can easily manage this data in manipulations or processing of data like without wasting time. Like for example, if you have collected some data, the data should be immediately processed without having any sort of time delay. If you are making time delay, automatically you cannot because data is coming over every minute, every second, every hour. So the process should be done, the analysis should be done on the data at the current level, so that you can have a proper prediction what you can do in the further operations. So I have given some example here how this world according to Google, because Google is one of the search engine widely used by every user in the entire world. So there are a number of search engines apart from Google, like we have this coming for Yahoo and a number of things. But Google is one of the finest search engine to search the most accurate results in a very less time, as you know very well. So in this process, Google uses around 57 different variables, like number of signal patterns. There are basically, you know very well, the whatever the instruction you are giving from the user end, from the end user, that signal is being quite different with device to device. Like, for example, sorry, like with every instruction. For every instruction, you have a specific separate unique signal. So this signal decides what type of data or what type of search, what type of operation you are trying to perform. So around 57 different signals are being generated, where we can system can analyze, or system can try to define what type of signal has been sent or received. Like it might be searching history, trying to locate trying to find the location. We're talking about the browser, where what type of browser we're using to search for data, what type of language, programming language has been implemented for the data operations. So everywhere we can find a unique signal. So all these signals has been easily processed or managed by your search engine in more efficient manner, and give the accurate results to the end user more faster. So you can see here how much data has been generated. So I had taken an example where from 2017, now it is almost 5 years old. So this has been totally increased every day. So you can see here the Facebook, basically we have been knowing all these things, Facebook, Google, Netflix, talking about YouTube or whatnot, Twitter, LinkedIn. So everywhere data is being generated. So for generation of all this type of data, some analysis should be required. So without some analysis, there is no use of storing or processing of data. So here you can see in the Facebook, you can see around 9 lakhs of data, 3.5 millions of data in Google. In Netflix, you can see 70,000. So thousands and lakhs of data is coming over in 60 seconds, only in 60 seconds of span. It is in minutes or hours, more data is coming over. So to manage all these things, you need a high-end framework, a high-end processing device unit to transform this data into a best way. To do all this set of operations to analyze properly, we are using a Hadoop as a framework to process data in more efficient manner. So here, you can see here how this data has been generated, around 2.5 exabyte of data. So it is more than petabyte. So more than petabyte of data. So it is being very high-end. The example, like we are using your Blu-ray, the disc, or the movies, whatever you're watching through satellite in our television. We're seeing the live movies, all these things where we having huge amount of data is coming over in the form of textual, graphical, or whatnot. So here, the data operations, the data processing has been totally widely increased when we talk about 10 or 15 or 20 years back. Nowadays, it is very faster to get the data capturing, data utilization, data processing, and trying to get the best results or accurate results of your data, whatever you have been fetched. So here, all formats of data has been supported nowadays. So these are what I'm talking about, the classification of velocity, variety, veracity, volume. So everything, the speed has been increased, a variety of formats has been easily supportive, coming for the accuracy of uncertainty of data has been totally good enough, generating of large scale amount of data, more than zettabytes of data. So your device is capable enough to handle zettabytes and more than zettabytes of data nowadays. It's not been happening earlier. So we have been totally trying to get large amount of data processing at very faster. What am I saying? As for example, we are trying to consume in a very less time and trying to process data at more faster rate. So in big data, the best example, Google, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Wikipedia, whatnot. So the first and the foremost example is your Google search engine. So Google search engine is having a huge amount of data store processing and trying to every second, every minute, every day, a lot of data is being stored and processed further to support a number of users and further manipulations if required. So all the companies, not only the industries companies or institutions in the world, the data has been more collective and more processing, the speed has been increased. So we are not been in the megabytes or gigabytes of data nowadays. We have been crossed terabytes of data. We are being into petabytes of data, zettabytes of data nowadays and more than that as well. So every minute, lot of data is coming to consume, process, and try to do some analysis. One more case study I can show you here, like big data case study, which has been taken from different sources of internet. The well-known idea, well-known to all of you, that's what Walmart, your big supermarket, coming for best price, coming for DMart or Walmart or whatnot. So nowadays the culture has been totally changed everywhere, every city, every town, every village. You can see small Walmarts. So where we have lot of customers, we have been engaged. Lot of customers have been n number of transactions every hour, every day, and lot of the data is being stored, processed. You know very well, like whenever you do shopping in very best price or Walmart or DMart or best wherever, you once you cross some 2000 of price or 5000 of price or 10,000 of price of product you have, whatever you have purchased, they have like they will send some message to your mobile. We have this offer tomorrow, we have this offer next month, we have this offer. So based upon the consumer or the customer have visited, done shopping based upon the price, cross 5000 or 10,000 or whatnot, they show some offer, they send some offers on your mobile so that it will be more attractive. They may just try to invite you for next purchase. So a lot of things, so a lot of data has been consumed, stored, processed. It has been more than terabytes of data. So this is one of the example where data has been hugely stored across the globe. That is what your supermarket. And coming for this is one of the area where we have a lot of scope, where we can try to get more opportunities. We can try to make our students, because as a faculty, as a faculty member, we have been teaching to the students not only like Java platform, not only for the blockchain technology, not only for data science or whatnot, machine learning. We have a lot of openings on the big data analytics and IoT. So once you have been eminent, getting the entire knowledge about the big data analytic processing by learning Hadoop framework, by learning Spark, by learning Hive, by learning Pick, all these things, you are capable enough to work in as an engineer, as a consultant, as a scientist, as a developer in any organization, because plenty of openings are there in this area where you can easily get a job and a very good salary. So you can just whenever you are taking classes to the students, this is an area where we can deliver talking about the big data analytics and the opportunities what we have in different companies and organizations. So here, once you complete the big data analytic course, learning Hadoop as a framework, and once you have been eminent member of this technology or framework, you can get a as job as architect, as a engineer on IoT, data engineer or IoT or data scientist. So any computer science engineer, any electronics and communication engineer, any mechanical engineer, any electrical engineer, if you are doing a course on big data analytics, there are plenty of openings. You can just, as a faculty member, as a teacher, you can try to convey this message to the students so that they can easily get a job in this big data analytics processing. And a lot of scope for this. There are a wide number of scope for the not only for the students, not only for the faculty, the researchers who have been involved in research at present in coming days is not only we can try to do research on big data analytics emerging with IoT devices as well, where we can do develop or design any prototype model or any framework as the requirement of data of any organization. It might be a car, it might be coming for a car as a device, the speed, the accuracy, how it has been tested, what amount of data has been stored, processed. We can compare with various different types of cars of various vendors. A lot of analysis can be done. So here we can have the involvement of machine learning techniques, machine learning algorithms as well, where we can try to do the processing at very high speed based upon the device, based upon the operations you have. So many machine learning techniques has been used on big data analytics as well nowadays to make the data processing speed, and there are certain problems as well. So we have very limited or small problems or less number of problems when you do some data processing. So here I can say that we can deal whenever you are dealing with the data. So data is in different forms. You can get some noisy data. So whenever you have some noisy data or uncertainty of data or inconsistency of data, some imbalancing can be occurred and some of the data may be lost during transmission or during sending the data from one end to other end. So in this time, you are not getting the accurate data and you cannot perform proper analytics on the required amount of data if you are not getting the accurate data. So there is a small chance, small problem whenever you are trying to fetch or trying to copy the data. The data may be in the noisy form, in the coming for imbalanced form, and you can get some missing of data and you cannot do some proper analysis perfectly. So it is happening very rare, but there is a chance of 1% where we can lose the data and we cannot perform the best of coming for best analysis. So this is what I'm trying to enlighten you about big data analytics with IoT. It's not been new for all of us because as a faculty member, we have been teaching in different institutions, different organizations from past number of years. So it's not new for us because in our academic also we have a course of big data analytics in most of the universities and colleges, where we can give importance and try to explain in a brief about how this big data has been emerging to IoT and how this IoT and big data together create plenty of openings and opportunities to the students community to grab the jobs at present days. So coming for as a faculty, what I said just now, we have a lot of chance of motivating our students and giving a right path to the students in different emerging areas as well, which has been open for all the different coming for departments, not only for computer science, it is for all. So big data can be easily learned and understand the Hadoop framework, which is widely used in every company, every organization, and we can easily work on this Hadoop framework and do a lot of analytical processing of data on various devices. So in the span of 3 to 6 months, we will be expert once you learn and understand data analytics by using Hadoop framework. So once I'm thankful to the manager coming for the institution, KRISHNA University, coming for especially convener Dr. Kiran Kumar Reddy sir and Dr. Ali Nazar sir for giving this opportunity to deliver this lecture, where I can try to explore the importance of big data with IoT. Thank you very much, sir.
Sir, thank you very much, Professor Dr. MD Aliusen sir. We are very much grateful, thankful that you have taken your valuable time to attend this FDP. And we hope that all the participants have got a good view regarding big data analytics and IoT. Sir has given a good number of case studies, which has enlightened us in the perspective of how the data will be streamed from the IoT devices to the cloud, and then from cloud to the platforms where we can have the presentation. But, Sir has shown the importance of Hadoop, Spark, and IoT. And these all are there in the academics. We need to learn about all these. Fourth things is about the real-time applicability of this data. That is what gives the real results in the community. And we are very much thankful once again that Dr. MD Aliusen sir taking his valuable time. And we hope to be in touch with you for these further activities which we are going to arrange in our university. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much for the opportunity. Thanks for patient listening for all the participants, the faculty, eminent faculty members who have been present here for this FDP program. Thank you.
And here for the a small information to the participants. In the meeting.
Any questions from participants?
Yeah. Any questions? You can unmute yourself and you can ask questions. Yeah, somebody's trying to talk here. Please.
Yeah, please. Yeah, please.
participants can take feedback. Attendance.
Sir, his voice is very low. Can you increase your volume, please?
Hello, am I audible, sir?
Yeah, audible, yeah, please.
Yeah, sir, I'm Lakshmi Narayana, sir. I'm from Vyasiddhartha College.
Yes, sir.
Sir, can you tell me some good resources to learn IoT? I'm
So
actually
IoT,
from CSC background.
Yeah, you want to learn IoT. Pardon?
Yes, sir, I want to learn IoT. Can you suggest me some
So
good resources?
coming for IoT is not a specific, because as you know variable is not a specific, based upon what type of what type of or what operation you want to, like whenever you do some specific operation on some specific like Arduino board, or might be some using Arduino board or Raspberry Pi or any other control board you can use to do a specific operation. So we have to, we don't have a specific it's not a specific technology to learn. So IoT has been emerging area where we can learn based upon the requirement of the user or requirement of the company to deploy some specific application in the real time. So we can start with learning what is Internet of Things, and then how this IoT is being used widely for doing a set of operations on various electronic gadgets, what we use in our daily life. It might be controlling of a fan, or coming for vehicle, or any small, because we as a faculty member, we are trying to train our students on IoT, doing small experiments as a part of project or as part of our term paper, or it might be anything. So try to learn what is the Internet of Things, where this IoT has been technology can be easily implemented on various electronic gadgets to do the things more simplified. The operations, what we
Okay, sir.
can
Thank you, sir.
So any questions from other participants or other faculty members, please?
Hello.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Sir, hello. Good morning. Good morning to all. Sir, my
Yeah, good
doubt
morning.
is actually how it is helpful for data science. Today, data science was implementing with artificial intelligence and machine learning techniques.
Yes. Yeah.
And how data scientist useful for big data, sir?
So coming for data science and big data has not been quite different. Basically, when you talk about big data, we are talking about the framework what we have been using as a Hadoop for doing some data processing and data analysis purpose. Coming for data science, basically there also we are trying to do some set of operations or set of program implementation part to analyze the data. So these are not quite common, not quite different. So it depends upon what type of analysis you are doing, what type of data you have, and what type of analysis you are doing for your data. So big data analytics is quite different when you talk about doing a analytical processing of your required amount of data. And the data science is nothing but where we have a specific task, a specific program to do some operation. So we are taking a program or a task to perform certain operation on your data, and here we are doing some processing of data to do some analysis and prediction where we can do or what we can do in coming days. That is what the quite slight difference between the data science and big data analytics is a slight difference.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, any other questions from remaining participants? There is a lot of scope to learn to understand the importance of big data analytics in a brief, and how this been emerging with IoT at present, because a lot of culture has been adopted and developed at present, where these two emerging areas are together working to grab a number of what we say as operations together done in different fields. What I said just now, weather forecasting, healthcare, agriculture, whatnot. Everywhere these two are emerging together. You can see a number of examples are there available where the people are working in this area prominently.
Is anyone more who are trying to ask questions?
Any more questions from the audience?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think so that no more questions. And we seeing that point that the attendance is maintaining from starting to ending with a good strength. That shows the caliber how you have delivered your talk here. And we are very much happy that all the participants have told your things till the end. And we request all the participants to join our WhatsApp group where you can get all the communications regarding the next day's sessions. And attendance link is also provided in the chat box. And try to complete it as quick as possible before 12:30 is good here, right? Thank you, sir.
Yeah, thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much.
Yes.
Sir, can you tell me how to get the attendance link?
Yeah, attendance link is available in the chat box here. You can go into the chat box and click the attendance link. Day one attendance link. Google form is available.
Sir, actually, I'm getting a message like a chat in channel meetings is available to team members only. I'm getting like that, sir. I'm unable to see chart. Can you forward it to my mail?
Yes, sir. I will. My problem is also same.
Okay. Can you
Unable to open the chat box.
Are you there in the
My
WhatsApp
problem
group?
also same.
Are you there in the WhatsApp
No,
group?
sir.
Yes,
No,
yes,
no
I
one
am there in the
added,
WhatsApp
sir.
group, sir.
Sir, please send the link through WhatsApp group, sir. I
Yeah,
am also
we-
getting same message.
I'm sending the attendance link to the WhatsApp group. And whoever have not joined the WhatsApp group, please also join the WhatsApp group.
Sir, already we are in the WhatsApp group. I am in the WhatsApp group, but I didn't get the link.
It's visible for the participants.
I'm not there in the WhatsApp group,
Visible
sir.
for the participants.
Can you take my number and can you add me to WhatsApp group?
Yeah, it was just posted in the WhatsApp group. Attendance link is posted in the WhatsApp group. You can check there. And
Actually,
Okay, sir.
no,
Thank you.
whoever are
Sir,
not there
but-
in the WhatsApp group, try to join the WhatsApp group. For further
Can you-
communications also.
can you
Sir,
tell me
not
that
yet.
WhatsApp number, sir?
Yeah. Yeah, in browser link is there. You can click the link in the browser. Otherwise, there's a scanner also for the FDP, the data KRU quality engineering.
Sir, can you add me to WhatsApp group, sir?
Yeah. Yeah, you can take the number. Number is there in the browser also. 8328
8328
3429
3429
46 46. I'm repeating once again. 8
Yes, sir.
Sir, can you please put the same in chat box, sir, if possible?
Yeah.
It will be easy, sir.
Yeah, it will be there.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, the number has been posted in the chat box. You can join the WhatsApp group for further communication and dating and further sessions. Don't forget to give your attendance in that link. At the end of this week, we are having a small test here. Depending upon the test here, you will be given. Thank you for this session.
Sir, the number, the chat box is not available to us, sir. It's not being accessible. Sir?
Can't you able to see that number?
No, sir. The chat box, it is saying that is only available to team members. It is not allowing us to even view or send any chat messages.
Chat box. Sir, you are already on the browser, right? FDP plus is also there. So in that FDP browser, we are already giving the registration link and the WhatsApp link. Will you please check and please join on that group?
Sir, can you please repeat it, sir? Sir, the audio clarity is a little bit disturbed here, sir. Can you please repeat that, if you don't mind?
In the browser, we are already giving the both registration link and the WhatsApp repeat. I think you are having the FTP browser. From the browser, you will get the registration link and the WhatsApp group link.
Okay, fine, sir.
Thank you so much.
Okay, sir.